Mm.
And
Splash.
we are recording with the one and only Mr. Akira the Don. He does
Woo-hoo-hoo.
have clout on Tuesday, November 28th, 2023 at 12:07 p.m. Eastern time. You know, right when I sat down before I let you into the Zoom meeting, I was drinking out of this thermos and I spilled water all down the front of myself.
Oh, well done.
And as soon as I sat down, I was like, fuck, I gotta go change my shirt. And then I was like, I just imagined just before I ever did the podcast, I used to just listen to your Jocko Willings. Good. And I was like, my shirt's soaked. Good. I don't know what the good is, but I'm gonna fucking make the best out of it. But
That's right.
Mr. Kira the Don, please
What's the?
introduce
You
yourself.
have to work it out though. You have to quantify that. What is the good of your hoodie being soaked?
The good of my hoodie being soaked and still doing the show is that I guess the true essence of the podcast is not whether or not my shirt has a wet spot on it, but was it a good
Uh-huh.
conversation? Was it something that people wanted to listen to? So although it's good to, present yourself in a reasonable manner and,
Mhm.
comb your hair and put on a clean shirt and brush your teeth for the show, it's also at the core not anything wrong with it. I could be Stephen Hawking in a chair and not be able to move, but if I could still create a engaging conversation, then who the fuck cares if I have water on my shirt?
There you
Boom. That's
go.
my answer.
Boom. Boom. You got it. You got that. You got. It's as if you'd thought about that multiple times before.
Yeah, I have kind of. Yeah, but for everyone that doesn't know, you make Meaning Wave, which are very meaningful speeches, lectures, seminars over incredible beats. And I found you probably 2 years before I started the podcast when really was at the bottom of my life, living with my parents, up till 30, just being a real fucking loser. But I would always listen to sometimes it was to get going and go to the gym. Other times it was to stay true to myself. I always quote you in your Stan Lee song, once I started writing, what do I think is interesting is when it became successful.
Mm.
So you are a major, not to put that burden on you, you are a major life raft for me in truly the worst times of my life. And it's my life is unimaginably better. And I get to do this podcast and I'm my own boss and I don't live with my parents and like just a world I couldn't have imagined. But it's like your Jordan Peterson thing. What would you be like if you
Mm.
just, what if you stop drinking? What if you stop jerking off 5 times a day? What if you start
Mm.
waking up? What if you start going to the gym? What if you
Mm.
did a podcast episode? What if you did two? What if you set a goal 3 years out and said, I'm going to try to do 100. I'm going to try to do 1,000. What if you just set, and now I'm in a dope apartment. This show pays for itself. And my life is, I still want to make it better. But yeah, I was like, what would you be like? And I think this is what I would be like. So
This is what
here,
you were like.
so I don't keep
This is
kissing
what
your
you were.
ass. Can you introduce yourself to everybody?
But you just did it.
Yeah. All right.
You just
Well,
did.
fair
That's
enough.
great.
All right. Well, fair enough.
Encourage John and make music. It's helpful in some people's lives, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Helpful in
How
everybody's.
is everything with you?
Everything's great, man. I just came back from Thanksgiving, and as every American, I put on 5 pounds of lean muscle from all my mom's cooking, and uh, it was great, man. It really was like that was probably the best Thanksgiving I've ever had. Just
Oh wow.
true. I mean, I really mean that. I'm 33. Truly, just like laying on the couch, like watching movies with my little brother, like my mom and dad, and it was just like, I mean, all day I just felt I probably looked like I was on ecstasy, but I was just smiling. I was just glowing. It really was like I'm still thinking about it. I hugged my mom like 20 times a day. It was
No.
just like it was just so nice. Like going to bed. Me and my little brother sharing a room, and it was like we used to share a room when we were kids, and like my dad blasting Led Zeppelin, even though we're trying to sleep, just like when we were kids. And it was just like it really was touching. What about you, man?
I'm here, and I'm in Mexico. So, but we still do celebrate Thanksgiving, even though we're in Mexico. And Dia del Gracias, or whatever they would call it, is
Yeah,
not really a thing here. Um, I what did I do? I mean, I'm with my family every day. Well,
yeah.
the immediate family. Um, we did a stream. We went out and got some food. Went to the anime noodle place that Hercules loves. Uh, Hercules' favorite restaurant here in Mexico is a Japanese restaurant. Hercules is my son. This
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
It's
I
a
don't
really
know.
cool place. It's like they have loads of like mango all over the place, and they play city pop, and there's always like a Ghibli movie on the wall or something,
Yeah.
That was nice. And we did a stream. I'm streaming again after a long time off of streaming because now I can stream again. Because after a couple of years of working out of Airbnbs and what have you, after I got locked out the US and had to kind of rebuild everything from scratch, uh, I just moved into my new studio. This is the first time I've had a like sound treated, custom built, arranged,
Yeah.
uh, soundproof uh, lights and
Yeah.
cameras mounted on the roof situation, like a situation I can step into and everything's set up
Yeah.
and get to work. I haven't had that for many, 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 many years. Ever
Fuck yeah.
since I did have a studio in Los Angeles, and then one day that whole Tom Hanks disease thing happened, and they kicked us out of the building with like a couple of hours to get out of there.
Yeah.
And I haven't had a proper studio since then. Uh, and certainly not since we got locked out of the USA and lost everything that we had in the USA back in 2021.
Yeah.
So it was, yeah, it was like, I think I was like the second or third stream or something. Second, it was the second stream, I think it was. So it was a very, thankful, grateful feeling of a day
Hmm.
to, be back in the position of being able to work optimally after years of working suboptimally,
Yeah.
which is a good thing to do. This is something I realized. People often talk about like their routines and stuff, right? It's like, what's your mood? Oh yeah, I've got my routine. If I don't have my this, that, and the other in the morning, I can't do anything.
Yeah.
And like really, you need to be able to do what you do regardless.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. Whatever it is you do, if it's what you're supposed to be doing, if it's what you really love, if it's what you really invest in, you will do it no matter what.
Yeah.
Do it in a cafe. You will do it at a bus station. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
With whatever equipment you have or no equipment, you will
Yeah.
work out how to do it, and you'll do that for as long as it takes.
Yeah.
Get to a point where think you can have your morning routine or what have you.
Yeah. I actually really like that. I was gonna say, yeah, no, for on the studio front here, I'll change my camera. This is probably this is probably the coolest studio I've ever had. And where was my video? Um, there's that. That's like my whole gaming setup. I don't know if you can see it well.
Yeah,
Um, it's got 3 screens surrounded and a giant 86-inch flat screen that I do the game streams on. And
yo.
yeah, and like
Where,
sound
where's
pan.
where's the giant screen? I can't see the giant screen. Is that off screen?
It's like
Oh, that's this.
it takes, you think it's a wall. No, it's not the wall. That's a screen. And yeah, you can see just full sound. Yeah, blistered my hands built probably about a year ago. I moved in November 7th. Took me like took me like 4 weeks to get it all up and going, but I had this idea of it in my head forever. I was like, when I can do it, I've got this idea for a studio. And it was, it never looks quite the way, but I mean, this is what I imagine. There's a sick view looking out. And um actually I want to talk about what you just said though. I have my morning routine. Fuck yeah. Everybody watching, look at the screen. Yeah. Akira's in his own goddamn studio.
That's my little video. It's not little actually. That's a zoom funny camera. But I've got my video wall building up over
Yeah,
there. That's where I make my music videos on that bit.
that's sick.
Music production bit is in front, and you can't see that. I need to get a camera on
Yeah.
that. But I've got the best desk I've ever had, like a
Yeah.
proper. It's got a pull-out keyboard tray and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like I always dreamed of.
Yeah.
A roof rig, like which is what this is coming off. But
Yeah.
I have railing, like a proper rig on this roof with one, two, three, four, five, like five this way, five that way, divvied up. I have all my lights and microphones and things suspended off the roof so shit is not unnecessarily on the floor. You do not like, like, it's been such a fucking dream to not have shit on the floor.
Oh my
Like,
God.
I dreamed of this when I had my studio in LA, so this is better than that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, there's something cool I really like about it in that, like, it looks like ridiculous. This room's like far too expensive than it should have been, but it's so fucking cool. And like when people ask me, they're like, why don't you just like when I first did the show, I did it above my parents' garage on a laptop. And then when I moved into my first apartment,
Yeah.
I built like a cubby hole. And all you could see was the flag behind me. So you couldn't see all the Ted Kaczynski bomb contraption esque wires and pipes going around, right? People would come and they'd see the sound panels, like maintenance guy would be like, is this like a BDSM thing? I'd be like, no, it's It's worse. It's my podcast. Like, but then like as I built this place, which is like I don't, it's like it is too much. It's like over, but the point of that is when I see it, it's almost like a magnet in that like if I walk in here to like the water on the shirt, when I come in here, I still sometimes just stop and stare at it. And it's like you've now set the bar to be this.
Mm.
If you're gonna have this dope studio, like you have to bring the fire. And like so many times uh, that will wake me up. I'll be like, fuck it, let's go hit the gym, cold shower, meditation. Let's do this. Even if it's like a guest I've never heard of and it's just a friend, I'm like, treat it like it's the fucking president or the king. Like, and it almost forces me to become better, if that makes sense.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
don't
you got
know if
things
you'll
to live
start
up
to.
to. Yeah, that's why I call my son Hercules.
There you go. Yeah.
It's a good life hack is just having a thing to live up to, or a thing
Yeah.
give you power or what have you, that's just always there. And for some people, it can be their environment. The
Yeah.
environment is very powerful. People don't even think about how powerful the environment is and how much of an effect it has upon them.
Hmm.
And people will live in horrible shitholes and wonder why their life is a mess. And people will, live in ugly places and wonder why their thoughts are so bleak and so on and so
Hmm.
forth.
Yeah.
I remember someone saying your imagination can only go as far as you can see. And I think he was a writer and he was talking about that's why he like moved out to the countryside because when he was little, he looked out the window and he could just see other buildings. Like he looked out of his window and there was just another council
Yeah.
block there. And then he had some experience where he like climbed up onto the roof and he wasn't supposed to, and you could see for miles and miles and miles. And his
Hmm.
whole imagination lit up. So he ensured that when he'd bettered himself a little, that he always had a view, so he could always see. So his imagination never had any limit on it.
Uh,
Now I don't have windows in the studio; I can't see shit. I don't do that one, but that one, it works for some people.
I like that. Yeah. You have to just kind of, it's like, and that's another thing is kind of doing the routine no matter what. If it is, if, because I have it, like, got to make the bed, got to go to the gym. Even now, I'm like a little irky because like I didn't do laundry. I normally do that before and I'm always just like, that is my routine. But if you really want it, and if it's really something special to you, that, I mean, this is my baby, to make it grow is to do it no matter what.
Yeah,
And
you have to do it regardless. You don't have coffee, you don't have your protein, you don't have your whatever the fuck it is
yeah,
you think you need. You need to be able to do it regardless.
yeah. And
Uh,
I would always joke about when you really got to dig deep for, and it's ironically enough, the universe seems to really set you back right when you're on the edge of like, a big breakthrough. It's like, here's this awesome guest. You're like, fuck yeah, it's gonna like grow the show. And it's like 2 days before, it's like some shit like the pipes in your building burst, and it's like, how are you gonna deal with this? And you're like, motherfucker. But I've always referred to it from the movie Flight, which I've never seen, but I've seen a clip from it. It's for Denzel Washington's an alcoholic pilot. There's a plane crash. Technically, it was the plane, not him, and he's being represented by like I guess whatever's supposed to be like Delta or United Airlines, the best lawyers they have in front of the National Transportation and Safety Board. Problem is he's an alcoholic, and so the lawyers are like sequestering him away during like the hearings. Like he's in his own hotel room. They get a bodyguard to stand out. They're like, no hookers in or out, nothing. And he's sober for like a couple weeks, and they're like, we're gonna win this. Like the airline's gonna avoid like a whatever $10 billion fine. And the night before, he like finds like the alcohol in the mini fridge and just gets blackout. Right. And they find him the next morning. They think he's like dead. He like threw up, fell and hit his head, and they're like, the meeting, like the hearing's in an hour. What are we gonna do? And he's like, call like my buddy Harling, who's played by John Goodman. They're like, who's he? And like, he's got cocaine. So he comes up, like bodyguard lets him in, and he like, I've never done coke, but in the movie they like put it out like different lines and stuff, and then he like puts a little bit in a cigarette, I guess, to smoke it to wake him up, and he lights it, and he goes, and this is the line I'm getting to is, and I don't know what the fuck it means. Maybe I'm just not cool enough to know drug slang. But as he puts the coke in the cigarette, he goes, "Here comes the banana boat," and then he goes, "Who's the banana man? You'll be the banana man." I don't know what any of that fucking means, but I've always quoted to myself, I've always said to myself when I'm tired or sick, I go, "Who's the banana man?" I go, I'm the banana man. I call it banana man energy.
Wow.
And that's what I'm getting to is,
Wow. You see, Banana Man with no Coke. You got that Banana Man energy without the banana boat.
yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, yeah, I'm scared to do coke because I think I would do it every day till I died.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't take long these days because they put so much fentanyl in
Fentanyl.
everything
Uh,
these days. It's amazing anyone does drugs at all.
Oh yeah. No, I
It's
don't.
amazing. It fucking baffles me. It's like, how could you do drugs now when it's very likely they used to cut shit with, baby powder and
Yeah.
glucose, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Glucose in
Yeah.
my day,
Yeah.
glucose.
Vitamin B powder. Yeah.
Yeah, now it's fucking fentanyl. It's like you like there's a I don't know what the percentage chance is, but the amount of people who died of fentanyl overdoses in the past year is in the tens, if not hundreds of thousands. I
I think
can't
it's
remember.
over 100
Is it over 100
a
now?
year. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? The things that people freak out about. Oh no, this thing is like they're blowing up trains or whatever it is. Hundreds of thousands of people are dying from fentanyl overdoses. But it's like, yo, if you're taking cocaine these days, you brave, or
Yeah.
or
Or you're
you're about
rich as
that life.
fuck.
You're just about that life. You're just
Yeah.
committed. You are committed to that bit because,
Yeah.
I mean, it ain't what it used to be.
Or you are rich as fuck, or you're a celebrity,
And
and
you
you've
know
got.
you're getting. But even if you think you're getting the real shit, how many celebrities died over
That's
the
a good
past
point.
however many years from like, fuck's sake,
Pills.
like the biggest rappers of the SoundCloud generation?
Oh, like Juice World,
Yeah,
Lil
Juice.
Peep,
Exactly.
Mac
Exactly.
Miller was fentanyl.
Was he fentanyl as well? He was,
I think
wasn't
I'm maybe I could be wrong on that,
he? Anyway, a
but I
lot of
don't.
them
Yeah.
was. And
Yeah.
aside of the ones and that's the ones you've heard of. There
Yeah.
was some insane figure last year. It was I can't remember the number. You'd have to look it up, but it was thousands, literally thousands of rappers died.
Jesus.
And these are like, relatively known rappers, people with careers. It's funny, it's crazy that there's that many musicians these days, but there are. It's easier for more people to be able to do it. Simultaneously, it seems harder for any of them to do it at the level it used to be done. We don't have superstars anymore. Have
Hmm.
you noticed?
Hmm.
Post Drake, like what is that?
I'm a fan of them. So Post Malone,
Post
he's
Malone, that's interesting. Post Malone is a superstar, you're right. So,
he's
but I don't think of him as a rapper because he sings.
yeah.
And he
That's a very
essentially
good
makes,
point. He's not
and
a
he essentially
rapper.
makes AOR kind of like almost like country music that sometimes has
He's a
trap beats.
musician. Yeah. He's not a. He's an artist. Yeah.
He's exactly. So he's I wouldn't call him, he's not like Prince, Michael Jackson level
No.
superstar.
No. 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 Not at all.
That kind of superstar does not exist at all anymore. But even a Drake level or even a Kendrick Lamar level, there hasn't been one in the past decade. And you go, maybe XXX Tentacion was supposed to be that guy, but he died very early.
Mm,
Maybe Juice
shot.
WRLD was going to be one of them, but he died very early. Maybe Lil Peep was going to be one of them, but he died very early. But we don't have any now.
Mac
There's
Miller was
literally
giant.
nobody I can think of. Mac Miller again, he was like maybe he could have been that guy, but he was already going esoteric.
Yeah.
He wasn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I feel that Mac Miller is one of those people who got a lot bigger in death.
Hmm.
The
I didn't.
legend.
I never knew about him until after.
Oh, well, there you go. So yeah.
Yeah. And I was, when he died, I was in my late 20s. So like that is like my generation. Like listening to the
Mhm.
songs, I'm like, oh, I kind of remember this from college. Like at a house party, I've maybe heard this. But
Yeah,
no,
he used
I
to make like cute kid frat rap. Like
yeah.
he
Yeah,
had like
no,
loads of songs about baseball caps.
yeah.
That was kind of a meme about that guy. He had like multiple songs about snapbacks.
Well, you can
Now
look
he's
back.
remembered as this kind of like genius kind of, but
Yeah.
he was
Well,
like a fun
he
party
got
rapper
big
for
when
a
he
long
was in
time.
high school. I admittedly don't know a lot about him, but yeah, you can see his early songs. It's like senior day, like skipping school. It's like, yeah, well, what the fuck else is he gonna rap about? He's,
But then musically, I remember when he came out, he was interesting because he had a different style to a lot of the sort of blog era rappers of the time, and he was rapping on kind of boom bap beats. Like sonically, it was kind of a throwback vibe. It sounded like Farside or something like that. But then he was rapping about back with snapbacks.
mm, I
But then he matured and intensified and started taking a lot of drugs and going hanging out with the Odd Future guys and all that sort of thing.
yeah.
Got weird.
I only really know him from like two songs, but I
Mhm.
think the one that always caught my eye was Donald Trump
Banger.
because one, it was funny because yeah, but because before he became president, but also something about like the way he rapped it, I thought was so interesting, and that there wasn't like a breath. It was like every nook and cranny was filled. Like
It's
Uh,
super energetic. The whole thing was like, it was one of those tunes you write because you know you're going to play it live. It's like, rah, rah.
yeah, it was very, and I like that's the extent I know about Mac Miller. But this is an interesting point to actually bring about because I never thought about that. The really no superstar musician. It kind of seems to be going parallel with, as the major media companies are. I mean, like laughably, they get like 1/100th the monthly downloads of like Joe Rogan. Like,
It's same with all of it. There's no new rap stars post Drake. People take Kendrick, J Cole. I don't even really think of Kendrick and J Cole as being rap stars either. It's like my nan don't know what they
I
call.
don't know any of their songs. I couldn't
You
name.
know what I mean? Exactly. Like you know, people knew 50 Cent's records, right?
Yeah,
50 Cent was a megastar. People
yeah,
knew what his personality was. They could describe what kind of a guy he was. Same would say someone like Snoop Dogg, right?
sure.
It's like an archetype. You could describe the personality. It's a bit like that those red letter media videos about the Star Wars prequels, where they kind of point out, well, with the original Star Wars films, you could describe Han Solo. He's a rogue. He's a pirate. He's a bit of a sexy boy type thing, right? Uh, Q Jong, whatever the fuck from the prequels, describe his character. You can't even pronounce his name. Most people. It's like he's a guy, got hair. I think he's a Jedi. I don't know. You know what I mean? And we seem to have that issue with our current like so-called rap stars, of which there aren't really any, or new era pop stars, and the same with the actors. There's no new Hollywood superstars
Hmm.
post. It's like Tom Cruise is like the last guy,
Yeah,
and that's an '80s guy.
yeah,
Who have you got? Who have you got? Who have you got under 50? You know what I mean? Like really,
yeah.
that's a superstar.
The Rock is getting there, but again, he's
He's
more
not
of like
under 50.
that's a very good point. Yeah, under 50.
That's what I'm
Fuck.
saying to you.
It's like
That's what I'm
Tommy,
saying to
and
you.
listen to the question. Yeah, no, you're
Yeah,
right.
The
Uh,
Rock, and this is you. By the way, The Rock was a superstar in the fucking late '80s.
I
He's a
remember. Yeah,
wrestling superstar.
I remember him from
So
my childhood, and
we're
like,
talking about new
yeah, I
post
mean,
'90s, post internet.
but this is an interesting point
Mm.
because when we think about media, also, right, how big Reddit or Twitter or whatever the fuck are in comparison to CNN and Fox. And
Mm.
CNN and Fox are rolling purely on momentum. If those were companies that
Airport.
just started today,
It's not
people
even
would be
that.
like, what is this shit?
Yeah, they roll
It's
in on airports.
yeah,
Like
exactly. Or
before
Jim
the
TV.
airports shut down, there would be literally nobody screening those things.
They've been on like Jim TVs for a decade because no one's changed the channel. No one's watching
I
it.
had to quit LA Fitness. I was in LA Fitness when I was in LA, and I was like, look, I don't want to watch fucking CNN and Fox like while I'm working out. Can you put something else on this screen? Put Rocky
Yeah,
on or some shit. And
yeah,
they refused.
yeah,
So I had to quit that gym. I couldn't be dealing with that shit.
yeah. And then I mean, my parents are in their mid 60s and they watched it like my whole childhood. They don't watch it anymore.
What do they
Like
watch?
they are boomers. And like, what are
What do
you
they watch
asking? Oh, they like listen to podcasts or they find
now?
series on Netflix and stuff. My
Yeah.
mom, like, my dad's like super active outdoors now. He's retired. He's just chopping wood all day. Like, they are like, they've unplugged.
Nice.
And I'm like, that's,
That's what I've
and,
been waiting for, is like that to happen on a kind of seismic
and like
level,
on their own though.
point level.
It wasn't like me like telling them, like, mom and dad, stop. It's
They
like,
have to come to it on their own. They have to realize, oh,
sure.
this is, you know what I mean?
It's like, dude,
Everybody
that's
does.
like my conservative Catholic mom who like drove us to Catholic school, was like mass on Sunday, like, kneel straight when you're praying. Like, my mom is like, so like, I don't need Fox News. It raises my blood pressure.
No, that's really powerful because the boomers were the most brainwashed generation of all time.
Mm-hmm.
You think
Yeah.
about it, right? They got given this box, and the box whispered to them and told them they were the most beautiful, wonderful, important thing ever.
Hmm.
This brainwashing goggly box, which had never existed before in the history of humanity. And the
Yeah.
box told them that they were perfect and wonderful, and it wanted to sell them things, so it just constantly like tickled their nutsack. You know what I mean? It was just always like, "You're so great, and just utterly brainwashing with them with the most sophisticated brainwashing techniques ever
Uh-huh.
known to man. Those were deployed on the boomers.
By
People
the
always talk about
CIA.
boomers, yeah, by
Yeah.
the CIA very specifically, by
Yeah.
a very specific, with using very specific tactics. Uh, but which we could talk about for years. But the point is people hate on boomers, they moan about boomers, but boomers were they experimented on those poor fuckers in a way that never been done on that scale before. And
Yeah.
when boomers just unplug of their own accord, it's a miracle.
Hmm.
You know that your parents have been able to do that is an incredible thing, because that's like somebody like take putting down the crack pipe
Yeah.
after like 50 years or something over their own accord. That's
Yeah.
someone that's like deciding, do you know what? I'm not going to do smack anymore. I ain't doing smack today. I got better things to do. I'm going to go do the gardening
Yeah.
instead of doing smack.
Yeah.
You know
No,
what I mean?
it's madness. And I mean, on the note of CIA backed propaganda, and then you wonder today, like, the dead internet theory that they've saturated the internet with like 99 billion like bots. So for every person, there's 10 billion bots that can
I've
suppress
been
you. Or
saying for over, I haven't had an argument online since like 2006 or something like that, right?
yeah,
Because it's obvious you're arguing with software.
yeah,
For the most part, you're arguing with software. I ain't
yeah,
never seen nobody change their mind over argument. But for the most part, it's like you're arguing with the avatar. You are arguing with some form of software or some form of paid, like not very intelligent
yeah,
intelligence thing. More likely than not, it's a stupid thing for you to be
yeah,
doing. It's a terrible waste of your time and energy. And if you're putting your energy into that fucking machine, you're powering that thing. So it's like, I haven't had an argument online since like 2006,
yeah.
2007, something like that. And
And,
it baffles me.
and then
Like,
you think about the signature reduction force. Like we always find out shit about like, military programs until they're 50 years old. Like the NRO, the National Reconnaissance Office, the satellite office, they officially didn't exist for like 30 years, but they had
it's
an entire workforce.
it's always the way. So you just want
Yeah.
to, you just should just assume
Well,
that your darkest concerns are correct and act
yes,
accordingly.
yes.
By the
It's
way, this would be a great opportunity to say hi to your NSA guy.
oh, everybody
Uh,
wave to the boys in Langley. What up?
you know what I
What
mean?
up, fucking what
Um,
up, all of DC, 17
yeah.
intelligence
What up?
agencies.
Hello, Mossad guy. Nice
How
to
you
see you.
doing?
Shouts out to all of the guys. We got guys. What
Shout
up?
out shout out to the boys at
What are the British
Quantico.
ones called? Okay, I should know what the British ones are called. What's the British intelligence?
MI6.
MI6. Hello, MI6 fellow.
What up,
Put your dick down.
MI6?
Stop jacking off.
Stop jerking it.
You know what I mean? That was always
If
who
you're
was it?
gonna jerk it, join the locals or at least super chat it. All right. This
Yeah,
this body isn't free. Um, yeah, Pine Gap in Australia where they have the Five Eyes and the NSA. Fort Meade, NSA boys, Quantico, FBI.
gang.
Thanks for
Anyway,
your love.
shut up.
Hey,
Thank you for being here.
thank you for being 99% of my viewers. Like I always joke that like I'll always have at least 17 viewers because there's 17 intelligence agencies. Like I'm like I'll always get seven. But something
He
I
was
found.
Grant Morrison used to talk about that, and he's like, "Yeah, we're moving." This was in like the late '90s, and he's like, "Yeah, so everyone's being surveilled, and there's cameras on in every corner." But he's like, "But the funny," and he's like, "But you ain't got to worry." He's like, "Someone's got to watch these, and who's going to like these guys who are sitting there supposedly supposed to be watching everyone? Like, they're all jacking off. They're all like
Yeah, of
scrolling under. They're doing not. None of them are sat there just like really paying attention to you.
course
You know what I
not.
mean? That's what's funny about it. Like you can
Well,
set up all of these systems of control and what have you, but they all have to be essentially operated by humans or
well,
human creation, and
luck.
that is always prone to fucking up.
Well, they had this problem.
Fucking up.
James Bamford's book, Shadow Factory, and the ultra secret post 9/11 NSA came out in like 2003. So the entire book is outdated. But they're talking about in the early 2000s drowning in information and how they were, what was declassified at least, like jacking up all these supercomputers. And they're talking about like 2003, they're talking about filtering through like 100 gigabytes a second, which is
Mhm.
crazy today. But
Yeah,
it's just they convert everything to a transcript and then you go through it for keywords. So I think the idea of like people watching,
but that shit
like,
makes me laugh as well, right? If you ever checked out the live transcript of one of your live streams,
oh yeah, no, they're all so incorrect.
absolute gibberish, right? Absolute nonsense.
That's how
It's
the
like,
next 9/11 is going to happen. They're going to slip
that's what they
through because
work
they were
with.
scanning the transcript,
Yeah,
and they're like, "This is Akira. He's the ducking best," and they're
yeah,
like, "This isn't. What is going on?" Um,
he's ducking again. What's he ducking
yeah,
for?
what's he
Comedy
doing?
show.
Duck you, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, so the thing I found out about a couple months ago is the Signature Reduction Force, which is in our Signature Reduction Army in the Pentagon, and employs like 80,000 people. So bots, I would imagine, are like the lower tier dime a dozen, but you do
Mhm.
want some people that maybe influence other influencers, right? So you maybe somebody that has 100,000 followers on Twitter, you might want an actual human or a team of humans to maybe pester because they're better than bots.
Yeah,
And so,
well, exactly this. And when I say software, I include those people
yeah,
because they are essentially software anyway. They're just running programs.
but those are shills. And then you go 80,000 people. They've been, active since the early 2000s. And then, so it's like always assume that it's true.
They
Like,
became very apparent during the Trump years. Like
yes,
all those people who just jump on the tweet immediately and say something gross.
yeah, immediately.
There are people that are just being paid to just sit there and jump on and jump in every conversation and jump in everything and just say the thing. It became
Yeah.
really, really obvious at that point. And then a lot of those people had to get kind of redeployed after that fact, and some of them got new avatars
You
and
got
this, that, and the
COVID,
other.
the vaccine, then
And
Ukraine. No, they've
it,
had a good team of they're feeding on the carcass. But to look at all of this and then like, well, what's all of that is in response to a slowly decentralizing flow of news. It's no longer a couple, organizations that it's easier to, blackmail 6 CEOs if you're the CEO or if you're the CIA and have them basically say what you want and crush stories or put spins on stories that made it out. And as you see that fall apart to just, I mean, how many fucking like you when you see like RFK making the rounds, it's like JFK, and then it's like Theo Vaughn, and then it's or Lex Friedman or Tim Dillon, and you see him cycling through, and you're like, oh, the Weinstein's right. Oh, he's making the rounds. Like that's the current. Oh, he's on Fox, he's on CNN, he's on whatever, right? So that is when we look at something as like somebody's making the rounds.
yeah, to a degree, there is that round, but it's interesting that they aren't all doing that yet. It's like, well, and then you go, okay, so for example, say the Ron DeSantis campaign,
Sure.
that acted as if it was the Bush years.
Yeah, it did. That
Their
was weird.
website design to the sorts of conversations he was having to, and then you're like,
Then you're like,
they
is he
must have
like a
are they deliberately torpedoing this campaign because he should be going on? Why isn't he on whatever
that
podcast? Why
which
isn't he
makes me
talking
think
to
it's
Leo?
like
Why isn't this? Yeah,
intentional or he's like a vote sponge or something.
yeah.
Is
I mean, it
intent
seems to me either it's one of two things. It's
or he's
either
infiltrated.
it was deliberately torpedoed, could have been by infiltrators or what have you, but either deliberately torpedoed or just the most incompetent people of all time just happened to be all working on that one guy's campaign. And this is someone who'd previously been very competent as a governor. It
It's a
really
good
didn't make
point.
any sense.
That is a good point. It's a
You know what I
very
mean?
good point.
And then
Um,
suddenly everything switcheroos to people talking about Nikki Haley as if that's a serious thing a couple of weeks ago, all in unison. All
hmm.
of a sudden, this sort of what did Vivek
Laser
call it? Was
pointer.
it yeah, Rumsfeld in heels. That was a good one. God bless him. Did you catch that?
Rumsfeld and heels.
Vivek, oh, is it Vivek?
Yeah.
Called in that last debate, called Nikki Haley. He said, he was talking about. Um, he said, "Yeah,
Did
we've
you
got it was
Rumsfeld and
Rumsfeld
heels?
in heels." But then he goes, "Actually, no." He goes, "Sorry, it was Cheney in heels. Same thing." He goes,
What a
"Cheney in heels." And then he goes, "Actually, we've got two of them," and looks at DeSantis.
holy shit.
It was the most powerful. That was like, that
That's
was
fire. Wow.
so powerful.
That's mic drop.
Yeah, that was very
That's
good
awesome. Um,
for DeSantis and his shoes
yeah,
situation.
that is a good point. Is it seems to be being torpedoed intentionally.
Look at the guy's website. All you have to do is just go look at the website. It looks like an early 90s website. This isn't a serious campaign. And then as far, where he's popping up, who he's talking to or who he's not talking to. Why is it that RFK's people know what to do? Why is it that Vivek Rizamzi his people know what to do? And the guy who was supposedly the front runner, his people have no clue about what year it is and how things
Good
operate
point.
now. It doesn't make any sense.
That's a very good that's actually a very astute observation. And it's not like he came out of nowhere and was saying all these Bushisms and everyone's like, oh, this guy's a plant. You're right. No, he has a track record of being like, whether you like him or not, whether you're Republican or Democrat, a good enough governor. And not only that is he also could do the media thing. He was almost Trump-esque in that
Yeah,
he was savvy with it.
he was very good for many, many years. He was widely
And then he's
considered to
getting
be the best
torpedoed.
governor that they'd had or certainly had in recent memory. And then he converts almost overnight to Jeb Bush levels. He essentially became the new Jeb Bush.
He was on Epstein's
He
Island.
even
That's
had
the
his
only
own like let's clap moments and shit like that. Some
yeah.
of the tweets he was putting out or his campaign were putting out.
So was he on Epstein's Island? Is that what we're concluding?
Who wasn't?
Yeah.
I mean,
Anybody who was anybody was there.
yeah,
Yeah.
shit.
No, that's yeah, that's what was the fucking point I was trying to get? Oh, the devolution of all this shit, right? That's the beauty of the podcast is you don't need to make a point.
No.
Is you that's you could almost say that this isn't a one-off of like, oh, it's just a coincidence that it's decentralizing because you're saying there's no like hyperstars in music and it's oh, so is everything decentralizing? Because
Yeah.
we were fed superstars,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. So an example I always think of is what happened to Terence Trent D'Arby. He was a soul singer from the UK, I believe. Soul singer, rock star type guy who started blowing up in the late 80s, early 90s. And I think he had like a number one record or something. And he looked like he was going to be a superstar. And then he wasn't. And he claimed in later interviews that he was blackballed by the combined might of Michael Jackson and Prince,
Hmm.
who basically got together to destroy his career and have their people tell various people, if you give this guy an interview or what have you, you won't speak to us. And the logic was that there were only 12 covers of Rolling Stone, and that meant only room for two black guys.
Hmm.
And Prince and Michael Jackson were those black guys. There wasn't room for another black guy. That black guy taking a cover would take one of their covers. So Terence
Hmm.
Trent D'Arby, his thesis was that they blackballed him and destroyed his career because of limited space for black guys in rock and roll media. That's now not the case. There's not now 12 covers of the Rolling Stone. There's infinite space
Hmm.
for whatever you are. And what, like, outside of what they're trying to engineer and push, that's a whole other thing. But hypothetically, there's infinite space. And that's why, like, young lean can be huge and influential while still being somewhat underground
Hmm.
and have a massive career. That's how, people can have millions of listeners and exist completely outside of the mainstream and never have been heard of. But at the
Hmm.
same time, it therefore makes it difficult to have these true superstars because you don't have like one body gatekeeping. And okay, say there's only 12 issues of Rolling Stone. So you're going to know who's on the cover of every one of them, and you're going to know who that person is.
Well, and then you have to start thinking, have there ever been true superstars then? If those guys were being pushed by these things, it's like, how would they survive today? If you threw just no one knew them, hey, start your career today, just threw the musicians in there. Obviously, it's like the time's different, so not everyone's listening to that music. But let's just say hypothetically they were. If you just took Biggie and threw him in early 90s, but let's pretend we have the entire like internet landscape that we do. Would he become Biggie Smalls, or would he be like, who are you listening to? It's like, oh, this guy, Biggie. I found him on SoundCloud and be like, oh, this is pretty cool. But
Next.
would he be a superstar?
Here's the thing: there's so many factors. Another aspect of this is that things are not as unique now, as in, for example, if you listen to contemporary rap radio, it doesn't sound very different to what it sounded like 10 years ago. There are records that came out 10 years ago that sound exactly the same, right? Production wise, the instruments used, the hi-hat patterns, uh, the what they're talking about, the vocal timbre, uh, identical to 10 years ago. And that wasn't the case in 1996. If you rewound 10 years, the rap records that came out in 1986 sounded nothing like the rap records that came out in 1996. Similarly, the rap records that came out in 2006 didn't sound like anything like the ones that came out in 96, right? But what's happened now is you have a situation where if, say, Nas wanted to or DJ Premier wanted to sound like Large Professor in 1993, he'd hear a song on the radio. That song would have been like sent out to radio and distribution like 4 months ago. It would have been made 6 months to a year ago. If he wanted to make a record that sounded like that, he'd have to sit there on his bit of equipment that would be quite different to whatever Large Professor was using. He probably wouldn't necessarily even know, and he'd have to sort of work out some approximation of getting close to that sound. He wouldn't be able to achieve that sound, and in doing so, he would create something new. in trying to sound like something, in being influenced by something, he would create something new. Whereas now, if you hear whatever record on the radio, you say, I want to make a record that sounds like that. You can go on YouTube, there's a tutorial that tells you exactly how to do it, exactly what software, exactly what sounds they're using. You can download the exact same samples, drum sounds, hits, etc., same EQ, whatever it is, and you can sit there and you can essentially copy paste that record. And that's what people do now. You have a thing called type beats, right? So it's like whatever, Biggie Smalls type beat, Post Malone type beat, whatever it is. So that's how people shop their instrumentals to new rappers. I want to rap, and the rapper is like, I want a beat that sounds like that thing that was just number one. So he'll find one that sounds fucking exactly the same. So the speed of change is glacial in the mainstream
Mm,
because everyone's just copying whatever's been big, and it's increasingly easy, and you are able to precisely copy what was big. The
mm,
chord progression, the hi-hat pattern, the whole thing. So everything's slowed down in that regard. Progress has slowed to a crawl. And
mm,
so that leads to the issue of, you don't have distinct, Biggie was very distinct. He didn't sound like anyone else. He was obviously influenced by Ice Cube and various people and Cool Mo D and people like that, but he sounded like him. No one else sounded like him. Tupac, his, coastal equivalent, sounded nothing like him. Tupac had a kind of he had a kind of preacher delivery, right?
yeah.
You know what I mean? He
Soul.
sounded like Malcolm X or something.
Yeah.
He was
Like
like this.
evangelical choir.
He was delivering a sermon type of guy. Like Biggie was that old school rapper, like hitting the pocket of the rhymes type thing.
Yeah.
Completely different. Whereas again, if you go listen to contemporary rap radio, the differences, the observable differences to say a normie are not there. The regular person could not tell the difference between the baby and Lil Baby, probably, aside from the fact their names are almost identical.
Yeah.
So there's that going on as well. There's a whole lot of stuff going on. We're just in a completely different time. It's a completely different landscape. You couldn't recreate what happened in a previous generation mode now.
It's almost kind of like Bubble Babies.
What's
That kind of, I don't even know if they ever existed, but it was like
it?
it was, I'm just fucking quoting fake news, just making it up as I go.
I had a dream
Yeah,
about
where'd it come from? Yeah, it's like the Giga Chad meme. What are your sources? It came to me in a
yeah,
dream.
yeah,
It's just like, what the fuck? Where's your
yeah,
citations? I made it up.
right.
Or who's his face? Hunter S. Thompson was being interviewed, and he was like, there are rampant rumors that Richard Nixon's a crossdresser. And the interview goes, "Where did you hear that?" And he goes, "Oh, well, I started it." But
He was so good. What was the thing? He's like, if you want to, he's that whole call your political opponent a pig fucker
no,
thing.
I don't remember that.
That was one of the tactics. I think I can't remember if he came up with that or it was something he'd observed, but it was like, call your political opponent a pig fucker. Doesn't matter if they've ever fucked a pig, anyone's ever
Or
talked about a fucking pig, just call them a pig fucker. Then they have to deny it. Got a pig. And then everyone looks at them and associates them with the idea of fucking pigs.
yeah,
Doesn't matter if there's ever any truth in it. Just
yeah,
call the opponent a pig fucker and make them deny it. Make them go out there and say, I never fucked a pig.
make him say the words.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fucking great. The idea of the bubble, which maybe never existed, is basically like super OCD mom never lets the kid out of the house. Maybe he's like sickly, and his immune system, because he
Oh,
can't take anything, he can't take playing with. And there are sadly cases where kids don't have like immune systems, but they are so bubbled, they are so babied that
mhm.
they can survive in that like sterile, almost like computer chip environment. But if another kid comes in who's been playing in the dirt with his friends every day at recess for the last 5 years, and even maybe touches one of his toys, a mild sniffling flu virus might kill the bubble baby, right? So my point is his tolerance is so low for anything. So what's like the inversion of that? Not kill you, but if you had never, I've never done coke. If I do coke, I will have that first time experience that you'll never get back to because
Mhm.
all my receptors for it are primed. If I ever did heroin, I would have that first. It's just the first you're discovering a new land. And then every time after that, you can't get as high because the receptors downgrade, right? They stop forming, and that's withdrawal, addiction, whatever. If people are so robbed from novelty, their tolerance for it is lower and lower and lower. All it's going to take is some motherfucker coming in who's just doing something no one's ever seen before, it won't even matter if it's objectively better. The very fact that it's just unique. It's like people that come to Rumble, we're like, I'm not conservative, but they're just like, I can't do the fucking censorship anymore. And they just come here for like video game streams or something.
Hmm.
But if your tolerance is so low, I mean, imagine just being like locked away from all music forever, and then somebody just showed you like Biggie. It would be like a religious experience.
Yeah, you
That
think so?
that's what I think will happen. Is
You're seeing it happen. I mean, my niece, she's just was she 16 now, and I saw her relatively recently. She was showing me her room, and the posters and shit she's got on her wall are the same things I had. It was like the same bands,
hmm,
which is all like 90s shit. And she's
yeah,
like, yeah, her and her friends don't listen to modern music. They think it's shit. And they discovered older music and got very excited. And that's what they're into. Now, then you can, if you have a situation where someone comes along and creates something new that's different from what everybody else is doing, then, as you were saying, that can stand out to the person and create an excitement or what have you. And I found this is what I found myself as people write to me every day saying, I've never heard anything like what you're doing, and it's completely different to everything that I hear on the radio, whatever, and that's amazing. So that can happen. But as we were saying earlier, the difference is now is the distribution model. So you can be young, lean, and have millions of fans that adore you, and most people never heard of you. So being able to affect society on a grand scale in the way that someone like Prince or Michael Jackson did, it's a whole different. I don't know. I don't even know if that's possible now.
I don't think it. I mean, let's go back to Martin Luther, not Martin Luther King, but Martin Luther, right? The 99 Theses, and I could be fucking butchering this the same way I butchered Bubble Baby, but wasn't one of his. So the mass forever was said in Latin, and the priest faced away from you.
Hmm.
If you had to talk to a priest to talk to God, he
Yeah,
was the
yeah,
middleman. You
yeah,
didn't know Latin. You're just some peasant just fucking
yeah.
making a wooden wheel, and you're like, "Yeah, well, the priest said I gotta fucking do this." They were so against. They were so against the Bible being written in English or whatever the
Mm,
fuck,
yeah,
because
yeah,
of
yeah.
people are directly talking to God. You can't give them all internet. What are you
Mm,
doing? You're giving them all smartphones? No, no, no.
yeah.
No. It's like imagine the CIA in the '90s being like, what the fuck is a smart? No, 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 no. You got to come to our TVs, right?
That was a big argument at the time.
Yeah,
So
and I
it's,
think it led to a schism. I think it led to the breaking off of like a new one of the is it Protestants or it was one of the major ones is a break off from that.
oh well, I was yeah. Then I was talking about with the internet thing. It was the same thing.
Oh yeah.
It was a big like we can't give them this shit. The whole idea is like, well, we need to create our big digital gulag and get everybody monitored and then get everybody in
Mm,
the same place, and then we can get everybody the same information and this that, and the other is like, yeah, but you do realize that they'll start talking to each other and they'll start
I-
understanding that their differences aren't so different, and they'll be
mm.
transmitting information that previously only weirdos who went to like specific libraries could get a hold of, and da 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 da. And they're like, it's all right, we're gonna fast track it, we're gonna get them all in quickly, and it won't matter, type thing. And
Yeah.
seen what's happened.
So it's like, can a religion ever have an iron grip like it did prior to people not being able to read the Bible? And it's like it religion's still big today, but it you'll never get close to like pre 1519, whenever this was. So it's the same thing as
Oh,
like,
hey, so I would disagree with you on that one
okay, how's
in a
that?
different way. Well, I think that the current sort of Nietzsche predicted death of God moment,
Mm-hmm.
the losing REM and the I'm losing my religion, that it's a purely Western phenomenon currently in its size. Everybody's religious, and we've already seen all that's happened is a new religion steps in, and people go turn to wokeism or extreme culture war stuff or something, and just act in exactly the same fashion, right? All those people whipping themselves for their original sin of being white in 2020 and all that sort of thing, we're acting exactly the same as Deus Volt Catholic types. Is it Deus Volt or Deus, whatever it is? You know, the ones who whip themselves.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? The religious impulse in man is not something that can be eradicated just by saying that, oh, the sky god and the spaghetti monster and oh, it's all so silly. You create a vacuum and something new
Uh-huh.
goes in there. And that new thing is not something that's been carefully developed and built up over thousands of years. So it's a chaotic nightmare and it causes huge amounts of problems. And now we're seeing those, and already the new atheist movement of the sort of 80s and 90s looks very silly and teenage, and like the rantings of a 14-year-old who's just started listening to punk rock or something, right? So we're already past it. But what's going to happen is, the religious impulse must be fed, and I would imagine an intensified religious zeal is what will take over. Like I said, we're already seeing versions of that happening, but a more organized religion is what will come in, and that was always the esoteric and conspiratorial prediction and plan. If you go back to the Albert Pike letter, the three world wars thing, the whole idea was for Islam and Christianity to mutually annihilate themselves, for the atheists and the nihilists to be sent in, and for people to go, okay, this is not what we want. And then they introduced the doctrine of Lucifer as being one world, new religion type thing, right? That was always that idea. But you're seeing in real time something not dissimilar to that occurring.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, you're right. No, it's a total vacuum.
And the global distribution information network of the internet is the perfect thing with which to deliver a new religion and say, this is it. This is what's going to work. This is going to fix all your problems.
And then the use of bots and signature reduction army, you can have it seem more
you can make it look
popular
like
and accepted.
Yeah,
Everyone's like, this is sick.
Yeah.
Well, man, it seems like selection pressures. I remember evolutionary biology in college, and it was like a squeeze. Like, if you like push water through a smaller and smaller hole, it'll become more and more dangerous because it's coming out so fast that you can actually like cut metal. Selection pressures are when you're forced through a hole, and it's like, who will survive? Everyone might die off, but this is where we're going to get something crazy, where it's like the bird with the even bigger beak, and it's like it will find a way to crush the small remaining like nuts on the island. We're almost seeing a selection pressure of like CIA backed full bot army, signature reduction army, no big music superstars, where it's like it's a selection pressure to be like, think on your own, to like not need the patriarchal, this is the news, or this is the new superstar, or God said this and therefore it's good, and go home. And we're either entering the end of history where everything blends together and there's nothing is new, or a select few are going to just break through. It's like, it's all so fucked that if you can't see it with your ears and eyes, don't trust it, and only do what is real, and approach the world with total open-mindedness. It's like what I think Ram Dass said: as a religion starts to fade, the fundamentalists become more fundamental. They triple down, they quadruple down. It might be that's what we're seeing, is we're getting rid of religion, but we're replacing it with statism, wokeism, just an obsession to dissolve all boundaries. There are no genders. There are no, there's like, you can and can't be pregnant. You can and can't get a boner. You can and can't have, we're just blurring it all together into a paste. And it's like the easy routes to go along with it.
That's just a chaos. That's a part of the worship of a kind of worship of self. It's just a chaotic filling of a void. A vacuum's created, things go into it. The whole, and these are demonic spirits and ideas and entities, right?
Yeah.
That exist.
Yeah.
The old idea of when one gets blackout drunk, demons go joyriding with you. That's what my nan used to say. She's like, that's why they call it spirits. Right?
Oh shit!
Because when you get out of your mind, something goes in there. It's always the case. The devil will find work for idle hands to do. If you're not actively programming and directing yourself, something else will. An idea, a force, a demonic entity. And, so that's what is happening, is that this void has been created and it is being filled. And, and ugly things are therefore occurring. But it's not that novel or not that new. And I don't know if there's that much of a difference between what we're entering into, where it's like you can't trust your ears and eyes with regards to what you're seeing on the global propagation network, because you're not quite sure if that's one of Joe Biden's many clones or if it's AI whatever the fuck it is. And what's the difference between that and just, being back in the day when everything was hearsay anyway, and you didn't know if that was true? Someone told you something that happened to a lord in town, that happened in another city, and you have no way of knowing if that's real or not.
Yeah.
Right? The idea that we knew what was real in that sense is very new. It's a blip in the history of humanity, just the same as this godless couple of years decades is a blip in the history of humanity. That if it's even recorded or remembered at all, will be recorded and remembered with some amusement.
Yeah.
Right?
It and this isn't like a unique thought, everyone all throughout history, you'd be like, we are in a brave new world. Like, the wheel is really changing things. It's all along the same lines as that.
Every generation fancies that it's going to be the one to face the apocalypse.
Yes. And it's
Akira John said that in a song. And it has always been the truth. They thought Jesus was coming back. When they wrote Revelation, that wasn't 2,000 years in the future. That was like next week.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's like an ego thing. I always remind myself of that. When I'm like, fuck, the world's coming to an end. World Economic Forum, AI demons are fucking the occultist, child pedophile rapists, just monsters are taking over the planet. And part of me is like, although it does kind of seem like that, the other part of me is like, man, it's a very convenient ego to be like, and you're at the center of it, Tommy.
Yeah, you just happen to
and
be there at that
was it
moment.
Terrence McKenna's brother said, Dennis McKenna, about Terrence's theory of time wave zero, which was interesting because he predicted something that would happen around 9/11, and he died in 2000. Yeah, but he has the day of the end of the universe on his birthday, and Dennis goes, I love my brother to death, but like, come on, little ego in there. And I always think of that. I'm like, it's all happening to you, Tommy Carrigan. And I'm like,
I mean, who's to say it isn't? Who's to say you're not the center of
that's the funny thing is it actually might.
Yeah, it might be. I mean, it certainly is in the way that it is your observation of the world that makes it real. It is your listening that makes the music actual, right? If a tree falls in the woods and there's no one to hear it, it doesn't make a sound.
Yeah.
There's no eardrum to capture and create that sound. That's actually the case.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even worry about that stuff so much. It's just, you should just be aware that that is the case, that it has always been the end of the world.
Yeah.
Everyone always thought it was the end of the world because it always was the end of the world, the end of their world.
Yeah.
Right? Because nothing stays the same for 3 seconds. So you're born into this world and you're a child and you hungrily guzzle up everything, and it's also exciting, and summers go on forever because everything's new. Right? Those early summers, they just go on and on and on because of all these new experiences. So you take in all this stuff and you catalog all these experiences and you watch Pinocchio and you download the mythology of the tribe and you understand the world. But by the time you finish doing that, the world's already shifted.
Yeah.
It's already changed. And a new child is being born and they're doing the same thing. So for you, it's an apocalypse because the world is dying. The world is it's collapsing, it's crumbling, it's over. That world that you spent those formative years cataloging and coming to understand is already gone. So it's an apocalypse for every individual. Always has been, always will be. But at the same time, it's a brave new world for every individual. It's a new beginning for every individual. We have all of this in the micro and macro, and each individual human life contains the birth of the universe and the death of the universe, practically and metaphorically. And that's what we're all dealing with, which is why it's always such a big deal. But, if you're aware of that, then you can be a bit more chill about it.
Yeah. Well, then, you also have to always just bring it completely back down to like, what are you doing today? How can you, sure, the nukes might fall, but until that happens, what day am I going to have? Oh, I'm going to hit the fucking gym, hit the sauna, clean clothes, shaved, made my bed, going to call my mom after this. I got work to do. I'm listening to an audiobook on Teddy Roosevelt. One of your lasting imprints from that Jordan Peterson song was I listened to every day at the gym now. Instead of music, I listen to an audiobook on 2x speed. So I just if I'm in the gym for 30 minutes, I knock out an hour, and I just knock out an hour every day. I started this in July 2021, and I've read like 140 nonfiction, like dense. Just before this, I finished like a 30-hour book on Woodrow Wilson and like what led to World War I. But that's just like, what would you be like? I try to just make myself better every day. And sure, one day there might be a slight blip as a thermonuclear warhead comes in at Mach 23, and all right, well, that's the end. But until then,
So what?
like, I gotta clean my room. I gotta fucking do laundry, man. I gotta go into calorie deficit. I gotta lose the Thanksgiving weight. I gotta start doing push-ups again. Like, I gotta show up to the podcast and maybe there's water on my shirt. Like, fuck off, nut up, let's go.
Some things are in our control and others not.
Yeah.
At any moment you're spending dealing with things outside of your control is
Yeah.
time you're not working on what is within your control. And you are
Mm,
therefore, in those moments, contributing to the death of the universe rather than the creation.
mm,
Every moment you're not actively involved in what's within your control and you're concerning yourself with what's outside of your control is a moment of destruction of creation. That's when you're not. What you're doing as a human is you're working with God on creation, right? That's what we're all doing.
mhm,
We're working with God on creation. But when we're not doing that, when we're concerning ourselves with things outside of our control, which are other people's things to deal with, that's when we're actively causing destruction because we're not doing what we were supposed to be doing. And no one else can do what we were supposed to be doing. And that creates the vacuum. And
mm,
that's where the demons come in. So you
mm,
really just should only be occupying yourself with that which is within your control. It's not just that that makes your life better, it's that not doing that makes everybody else's lives much worse,
mm.
including as and your own.
Um, I kind of want to, and I said I'd only keep you for an hour, so we'll slowly start wrapping it up. But there's one of your things you do in the Goggins mix is when I die and go meet God, and he goes through the whole list and he goes, but I didn't have this. Like, what the fuck was that? Like, I had you doing this, that, and the other
Such a
thing,
bad
but
motherfucker line. It's Goggins is like, you got a chart.
yeah,
And when you die, you go to heaven, they got like a book and it's like all the stuff you could have been this. Like, you were kind of supposed to end up like 165 pounds, be able to run marathons or whatever the fuck, be that guy, right? And at the bottom, like you could have been, killing cockroaches or whatever it is in
yeah,
David Goggins' case. But he's like, when I get up there, I want to be like, what the fuck? I did not expect this shit. Like
yeah,
you did a whole bunch of shit that I wasn't even expecting. Like,
yeah,
I know, what is it? I know God's like, I know everything. I didn't
yeah,
fucking see this.
yeah.
I
That's
didn't
the line.
fucking see this. I want to feel that.
Yeah,
Of course,
uh,
that's impossible, but it's wonderful. It's a wonderful aim.
I think well, yeah. God says I know everything, but I didn't fucking see this. And I always think about that. I'm like what can that be? And you said
It's the
it's
anti Sam Harris that. It's like the utter inverse of the Sam Harris ideology, which
what's his? I know
well,
of him. What's his ideology though?
that there is no such thing as free will, and every
Mm,
man is just a machine just enacting base impulses and reacting to whatever goes on around him, which is quite, and he's one of these new atheist types.
hmm.
That sounds like a very religious idea of
Sure.
redeterminism. But the Goggins thing is the antithesis of that, right? The
Mm,
Goggins thing is like, fuck that, I have complete control, and I have so much control I could do something that even the hypothetical God that knows everything would not have been able to expect. That's like
mm.
ultimate self-control, ultimate self-determination, ultimate self-discipline, ultimate self-responsibility. And it's very cool.
I think it is possible. I think God gives us free will. I do believe in a God. I think God gives us free will, and
For a reason. That's what we're talking about, the co-creation.
yes, but
Mm.
it's I mean, it's your bit on like Alan Watts, right? Eventually, more and more surrendering of your powers until finally you'd have something where you forgot you were God. You would want to be
Mm.
scared and anxious when you wake up. You get to experience it again for the first time. Like, oh,
The idea,
everything.
just in case people don't understand what that is,
Oh yeah, sorry, go for it.
in the proverbial nutshell, the idea is if you were an all-powerful being, if you could dream any dream you wanted
Mhm.
to, initially within your dream, you'd be like, "Ooh, can I fly? Oh, I can fly.
Yeah,
Oh, can I have sex with that every person that I find attractive? Oh, I can. Oh,
yeah,
can I build myself a mech suit and sort of rampage around Japan? Oh,
yeah,
I can." And then eventually you'd kind of get bored of being indestructible, just like when you're playing a video game and you're too OP So you would start imposing limitations, and you would keep doing that and keep doing that and making things more and more interesting and dangerous and scary until you created the ultimate dangerous and scary trap for yourself as an omnipotent being. And that would be the finite human existence that had no idea that it was actually God. You would create yourself. And that's the idea of,
And yeah, I think he goes, and eventually you have a dream
and you're you.
where
Right
you
here.
living the life that you're living right now,
Yeah.
listening to my voice. Because why
Mm.
not? Like that was. By the way, I don't. We can keep going. I just wanted to give you an out if you got stuff to do after an hour. But
Yeah, I do actually.
yeah, okay. But
That
um,
went very fast.
yeah, no, that was fun as fuck, man. But I was gonna say, but the Goggins thing is, I think this is God surprising himself. He unimaginable evil can happen too. But every once in a while, he goes, dude, what the fuck? This guy was better than I thought. I think that's God. He wants to experience novel surprise, and he goes,
Hmm.
whoa. He goes, everything's a marionette to me. I control everything. What the fuck is David Goggins? Like God's looking at his Instagram, going like, "Come on, fuckers," and see God's looking over to Jesus or Buddha, and he goes, "You seen this guy? He just fucking ran 3 ultra marathons with a broken foot." And everyone's like, "Huh?
Look, this motherfucker's still running. He's been running for 3 days. What's he doing? Look at this guy. Look, he's still going.
You want the literal
I didn't have
God?
that one
Like
down.
you
I
want
didn't
like
have that either.
you want like Hercules and Zeus? Like you want Adonis? You just want him looking at Goggins and being like, that's not what the
Yeah.
fuck is that?" And then he goes up there and he becomes a deity, and one day you want David Goggins to like look at some creation and go,
What the
that
fuck?
motherfucker's hard. What is this shit? Like, and that is just novelty and enthalpy at the highest level. Not enthalpy, that's heat, entropy. At the highest level, that's what the gods would want is it's sure bask in eternal blissless ecstasy forever. But every once in a while you want that sort of like when you start scrolling through Goggins thing, you go, what is this thing? He's not even a man. He's just like pure determination, like boiled down into a human suit that's just out there to like, yeah, steal the fucking soul of everyone.
He's an archetype. He made
Yeah.
himself an archetype. Everybody can do that. Anybody could do that as well. That's what's
Yes.
cool. That's what's cool about these living in this moment where we have these examples. And you can see that's the if you can go, okay, he can do that, I could do that. He could do that, I could do that, he could do that, I could do that. Like there's nothing stopping anyone other than
Mm,
themselves. And it's more and more apparent. And that's what's exciting about this moment is that you have the more people than have ever existed in recorded human civilization at the same time hanging out, and more of them have the capacity to unleash that potential which exists within them, just like
mm,
Michelangelo's David existed in that stone block.
mm,
Right? You've got billions of hypothetical potential Michelangelo turbo warriors that could just burst forth at any given moment.
mm,
Of, and all it takes is the right amount of mimetic force, and enough people will just go, "Oh, I could. Oh, well, then I
mm.
will." You know. And then all the plans of the creepy types of which we were discussing
Yeah.
earlier are all fucked
Yeah.
because they can't stand up to that sort of thing. Imagine like a tipping point number of mini Gogginses and
Yeah.
mini Jogos out there in the world, right? Warrior philosophers, a tipping point mass of Giga Chad warrior philosophers suddenly being born and not taking anybody's
Like,
shit. And what's the wonderful line from the Fountainhead? You know, it's not who's gonna give me permission. It's not gonna who's gonna let me. It's who's gonna stop me,
mm,
right? An army of motherfuckers with that mindset, with the physicality dialed in, with the brain dialed in, and that is something that we're actually is possible. That's something that's possible at this moment that could
mm.
occur, and that would be pretty cool.
What if the last 2,000 years have been the equivalent of like a winter,
Mm.
and we've just accepted this? Our grandparents, our grandparents,
Mm.
grandparents, and on have just accepted this is how life is. There's inequality and there's hatred and war and rape and weakness and domination, and all of a sudden we are experiencing what's probably happened 100 trillion times, but for the first time, we're seeing spring. And right now, Goggins is the first flower. Everyone's like, what the fuck is that? And
Beautiful
maybe you
flower.
have like another one that like a Rogan, you, and you go, these guys are blossoming. And it's like, yeah, man, we're in like mid-March. Like God's just sitting back watching us like these motherfuckers are about to see a show.
I see
And
them,
like,
man. They tag me in their Instagram reels. The little
yeah,
ones, the
yeah,
little teenage ones.
yeah,
There's ones who tag me who were like 9 years old when they started listening to Meaning Wave or what have you, and now
yeah,
they're like 14, 15 or whatever, and they're
yeah,
fucking crazy.
yeah.
I see a ton of these fuckers.
Like it's a whole field of just buds and like three of them have blossomed and we're like they're so cool, man. And it's like
Mm.
maybe it's still a decade out, but yeah, like what if there's like
It could be
what
less than that.
it
Like
could
I
be
said,
less like
think about it, right? If you're like 12 or whatever in 2017, you start listening to Jocko and Meaning Wave and all that
yeah,
type of shit, right? That's 6 years, right? You're 18 now.
we're like looking at an entire field that's about to it's all about it's like a field of sunflowers and it's
Field of
like
bad motherfuckers.
it's about to be a chain reaction of gigachads and it's like
There's
yeah,
like there's insects that only live a couple of hours, right?
yeah,
And it's a monsoon last night here where I am in Mexico. And there's little insects that buzz around and they'll be dead in a few hours.
yeah.
And they were born in the storm and they died in the storm and they thought that was everything that ever
Oh,
was
that's
ever will be,
reality.
right? And that's us.
And if a couple lucky of us are gonna see the sun come through the clouds and be like, what in God's name is that?
Mm.
Fuck yeah. Well, hey, Akira, I've kept you longer than I
Oh,
said I would. Thank you
oh.
so much for coming on, man. You energized me. One of my fans is a huge fucking fan of you. He goes by the name of Adamo, Atamo. Can you give Adamo a shout out? He loves you.
Yo, shouts out to Atamo. Atamo or
Yeah.
Adamo? Atamo.
Atamo. I don't know. He's a guy.
Adamo!
He's a guy in
That
Canada that
motherfucker.
just loves you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
shouts
he's got
out
all
to
your
Atamo.
albums and shit. Fuck
King.
yeah, Adamo. Um,
King.
Yeah, but dude, I mean, I love talking to you. You're a bright force. I just like Goggins gets people going to go like crush shit. I talk to you, and I'm like, it's all going to be okay and beautiful,
Yep.
and that's what's up. And guys, please go into the description. Please go to Spotify, his YouTube, his Rumble. The link tree is there if you want to go support him. I think you're the first person I ever super chatted on YouTube. Like,
Ah.
yeah, this is years ago, and
We're streaming every day again right now. We'll be on tonight at 8 p.m. EST, whatever the fuck that is, wherever you be.
yeah,
Uh,
fuck yeah,
Lo-Fi Christmas just came out. The
hell yeah,
annual Christmas album.
hell yeah.
And, yeah, there's always something. There's always something dope just for you, especially for you.
Just to not to keep fucking sucking Akira's dick, but as I was coming to the end of like 5 years of Photoshop and I realized it wasn't what I want to do, the last Photoshop I had made was like a sad Santa sitting on a bench with his hands clasped and he was looking down and you can tell this he's been there for a while. The snow's kind of piling up on him, and there's like snow all. It's at night, and there's a single street light, and I made it, and then I like overlaid it and turned it into a GIF with like snowflakes falling. And I remember I was listening to your Charlie Brown Christmas Lo-Fi,
Ew.
and I was so like kind of depressed. I was like, I don't know what I want to do, and that's when I realized I was like, I think I would just want to like lean in, and I had the idea of a podcast, and so you were at one of the meaningful pivots in my life. That was like 4 days before I started the podcast. Since the last real Photoshop I ever made was, and I overlaid your music onto it. I remember my mom seeing it and texting me, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just kind of just a little winter blues." But yeah, that was a more of a sad note, but that was one of the pivotal moments. So Akira's been there for me, whether he knows it or not, through the thick and thin. So with that, Akira, I love you and thank you, man.
Hey, big up you, bad motherfucker.
Hell yeah.
Awesome seeing you.
Akira the Don.
Bah,
Thank you so
bah,
much,
bah.
sir. Emailed you the link. Guys, please go into the description. Please go support him on any platform you can. Until next time, thank you so much, dude. God
Boom.
bless. God bless everyone.